turn it off, right? That might help. Hey guys, I thought that it just automatically stops. So I'm sitting here like waiting for it to stop and all I'm getting is black screen.
I love it.
Because I'm not going to say it in the first, what is it, like 6 minutes? I was going to swear, but I'm not going to now. We'll wait until about 6 to 10 minutes in, and then we can start that.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness. Yeah. Clairaudience.
Clairaudience.
This is one. Hi, Maria. This is one that I have, and I think it's one that's getting stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've always had it to a certain degree, but I've never really like done the parts that I needed to in order to like nurture it or feed it kind of thing, work with it. But it is something that I am going to be starting to work with. What about you?
Yeah, I would say I definitely have this as well as my grandmother, and especially with spirits, but also the audibles and other things we'll get into tonight. But I have to say, I think this year it's been stronger. And I, the same as you, never really, besides spirit communication, practiced just clairaudience in itself to like help feed that myself. So that's probably a goal for me as well.
Yeah. Let me get here really quick and let me send this out a second. Okay, it's muted. All right, we're good there. Let me share this really quick. Well, we're happy that you're here, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
Love you, sweetie. You should definitely be up here with us next week because I know that this is one that you are also dealing with.
Mm.
You know what? We were just talking beforehand, Cortney. Why don't you tell everybody what happened with your grandma?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so story time. My grandmother is highly gifted when it comes to clairaudience and also clairvoyance, and she's a medium. One story I remember her telling me, and I remember seeing as a child, she was on her way to work one night, and just a little bit of context, her son, my uncle, his name was Daniel, he had passed away from drowning earlier. I was like 3 then, but this was around the time I was about 10. And my grandmother was on her way to work one night, and she had to slam on her brakes and pull over because she heard her son scream, "Mom," very loud in her head. And she said it was like amplified, like it rang her ears. And she right away got a feeling that something wasn't right with her grandchild, which was his son, who lived in New York at the time while she was in Florida. So she calls up the police in New York and asks them to go check on her grandson. Well, they did warn her, she didn't have much proof. She was in another state, and that if her report was false, she could be charged. And she said, "I don't care, just go check on him." Well, they went and checked on him, and they saved his life. He was actually in a very dangerous situation. I don't want to go into too much family detail there, but yeah, it ended up saving him.
Wow. And she actually heard him like yell out,
"Mom." Wow. Yep. And that's happened to me with family members. I can hear their voices like yell, amplifying in my head. And I'll call them up and be like, "What's wrong? What's going on?" And it's always kind of freaked my mom out because I've done that with her several times. Like, "What's going on?" And there would always be something happening. My cousin passed away. His anniversary was actually the 1st of this month. And the day he passed away, or the day I found out he did, I actually heard his voice saying my name. And then I found out he had passed away. So
Wow.
And hello, everybody that joined.
So, oh, I just seen 555. Wow. One of the things that I would say as I came across this is one that I feel like has mixed with other clairs.
I
Like,
agree.
for instance, or I wonder whether or not it does, because like as a tarot reader or as somebody when you're having a conversation, instead of actually hearing something, I wonder if I'm getting it confused with actually seeing like the word. Or like Summer, we've talked with Summer before many times, she'll actually see the word because she's very much of a wordy person. So I wonder if that's also kind of like a form of, because it is like a word that's used for communication, right? Or
Yeah.
words, that's our language. So I wonder if it kind of mixes a little bit there.
I think it could be related, especially if she's seeing the word, then hears it. Because usually, if we do see a word or something in our head, also our inner voice will say it. And I mean, by definition, it's the ability to hear that of which is considered inaudible.
Hi, sweetie.
Hi, Amber.
Yeah. So this is one. This is the definition that I have found. What is clairaudience? Clairaudience is the power to hear sounds said to exist beyond the reach of ordinary experience or capacity, as the voices of the dead, guides, angels, demons, deities, spirits, ghosts, or even your higher self, right? Or could it also be like a voice that you're hearing that's like from the cosmos or the universe?
I
You know?
also got music from other realms as well that some people hear, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yes, 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 yes. What about you guys that are in here? Do you actually hear things sometimes, even if it's your own voice? Because I found that is also it. Because
Yes.
you might think that it's your own voice that you're hearing when but it might actually be like your higher self talking to you, or a guide, or yeah. So yeah, hearing voices from these are some of the signs that you might be clairaudient. Hearing voices of others that are not on this plane of existence or dimension. Now that can include like muffled, like hearing like muffled voices, or hearing whispers, or, and I'm kind of going, I've got a whole big list here, but I figured some of the easy ones that people can probably relate to is like, have you heard somebody call your name, and then when you ask them, hey, what did you want, or did you say something? They say, well, I didn't say anything. I didn't call your name. Has that happened to you guys? It's definitely happened to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I wrote that down too because I resonate with that so much, especially if I'm in a room full of people. It's like sometimes I can even pick up on like whispers from what their thoughts are. It's very weird. I will hear their thoughts and I know how they're really feeling at that time. It's an experience.
That's something B just said, sometimes, but I often feel. And see, this is the confusing part, because you have to ask yourself, they're so close. Everything is like vibration, right? So are you really hearing it? Are you feeling it? Are you getting both at the same time? I mean, how strongly does it resonate? If you're feeling it in your body, I'm wondering if you are hearing it, picking it up, just like a dog whistle, okay, that we don't hear, right? But a dog hears it, but it doesn't mean that it's not there. Something I've been listening to lately is the Schumann resonance on YouTube. You can't hear anything, but it's still happening.
I can hear dog whistles.
Can you? I love that.
I always could, even as a kid. It's strange. But they do have audio tests where you can measure the degree of like frequency that you can hear as well.
That's something that we can probably put in a link next week to something. Do you have like a link for something like that we can look at next week?
I could get one.
So Maria says, I have never actually heard anything per se, but I have this ringing, or I get songs that pop in my head that fit with the situation. Well, here's the thing. I want you to ask yourself, because I really had to think about this for a second. Yeah, you think voices, you think whispers, you think muffled, stuff like that. But have you ever heard footsteps somewhere?
Mm. Oh,
And
yeah.
nobody was there. Have you ever heard like creaking up the stairs? Not necessarily the footsteps, but the creaking, and or knocking on the walls and stuff like that. That's all part of clairaudience. And I know a lot of people have had those experiences. Oh wow. Let me catch up here. Yes. I will hear someone call my name. Yep. Exactly. I have had that several times. I have a constant inner dialogue, but only in my own voice. I do get ringing in my ears at times. See,
So
I have an inner dialogue also.
that's part of it. I found in the research I did today.
Exactly. It says, do you talk to yourself a lot? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. That's one of them. For the most part, I feel what my guides say.
Mm.
Hmm.
Which,
But see, like you, Cortney, I'm the same way though. It's almost like I've said this before. It's like I know what Sully is telling me. It's like he's talking to me. I speak for him all the time.
my cats, I feel like I could hear them sometimes as well, which I think I'm glad you brought that up, because as I was researching this, that did occur to my mind. I was like, I could almost hear like my cat, what he was thinking or wanted. So, and you and Soli, that is on another level. You guys should see how she can communicate with Soli. It's awesome. It is awesome. I love Sully.
We go down a little thing though. I usually know what he wants.
And he answers you.
He does. He answers me. He nods his head like that. I know when he wants something. And I'll go, he is so smart. I'll go right down the line. I'll go, do you want to go potty? He might go, do you want, and I don't ever say, do you want a treat? Because he always is like, yeah, I want a treat. He's always, yes. But like, do you want mama to go lay down with you and read to you? He'll just like put his head forward. And if he's really got to go bathroom really bad, he'll like jump forward like really fast and tell me. But so Ponus, you hear screaming.
I do too.
Really?
I found that working with darker entities as well, yes, there are times I just hear like amplified screams, and it's not from just one person. Sometimes it is. But other times, if I go on a location and I'm hearing the past and something tragic there happened, I could hear screams and like sounds of it happening.
And I wonder, because as you're saying that, in my mind's eye or in my mind, I'm thinking, I wonder if it's because they've been trying to get your attention and all of a sudden they're like thinking, or they just broke through that barrier and they're screaming still because they think you can't hear. And then you pick it up and it comes through like a scream.
Yeah, and it's powerful. Powerful, yes. Sometimes it like booms in my ears and head to where I'm like physically going like this.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And he says, yes, I have visitors. And see, B says, yep, I have heard the creaking on the stairs. Yes. And the footsteps. What about the knocking on the walls and stuff like that? And I think these things happen to us more when we're little. And as we get older, if we're not told that it's just imaginary or you're just making this up or whatever, or just ignore it, or, stuff like that, right?
Right.
Then if it's nurtured, I think it continues to grow. But I think it can also be suppressed.
Yes.
So,
That's why I always try to be supportive when my kids are bringing up like these imaginary things that they're creating or whatnot, or that they see or feel. I'm just going, oh yeah, I humor them more so than, oh, well, that ain't real. That's just your imagination. I want them to keep that part, that imagination.
What is imagination? right now, some of the stuff that's been going on with like the breaking down of the matrix. When I was out with Sully earlier, and I can see it now, but I see it more prevalent in the sunlight. So like when I'm out in daylight, I can see like the little squigglies and little itty bitty things of light going like this and all over, like the pixelated stuff, right?
Right.
So if that's really happening, what is reality and what is imagination? Is it all just imagination? And is it really what we are creating? I think so.
I think so. As a collective, I think as a collective, it's more than what we, excuse me, understand or know it to be. As a collective, we mold and shape this reality. It is a projection of the collective of the mass, in my opinion.
I think so too. Pona says, I have visitors each day at any time. LOL. It happened so much that my mom started to hear them. Wow.
Wow.
Getting used to it. Yeah. Huh. Kind of fun. See, I love that. Nurture that.
Mm.
Who says it's not natural that we have these other senses? I don't think it's woo-woo. I think it's really something. What is like when somebody is talking about like science and stuff like that, or something like pseudoscience? It's just science that hasn't been proven yet, right? At one time, gravity was like that. At one time, everything was like that, right?
I always tell people that the spiritual community or witches or the people that dive into the occult, we are scientists. A lot of science we have today, thankfully, was from secret society occultists from years ago, Yeah. All of the stuff in science today would be considered magic or witchcraft back then. And there were actual real societies that believed in science so much and the hidden that they created groups. Witches are scientists.
I think so too. When people have said that, one is not the other, like religion and science, like conflict with each other, I have always disagreed with that. Always. I believe they are one and the same, or can be one and the same, or that they support each other, actually. But Sarana says, from what I understand, there's something taking in the information. Even if I don't consciously hear the voice, I can translate it in my mind into my consciousness. Yeah.
Your higher self.
Yes.
It's your higher self. Yep.
Sometimes whatever is speaking has a feeling, a smell, or a presence. Yeah. See, that's why I think that many of the clairs actually work in conjunction with each other.
Right.
And maybe we are just more aware of some of them. But if you're seeing it in your mind's eye, like a word, maybe you just heard it on a level that you don't audibly hear it, but you're downloading it, just like the ring in the ear, or like buzzing sounds, or like high-pitched, vibrations, but even like higher pitched vibrations and stuff. Whoops. Oh. So the voice will be my own mental voice, but it's not me, it's them. My mind is just, exactly. That's the way I see it. Hi, Summer. Hi, virtual tarot card. So let's go through some of these. We just kind of got off talking, but hearing the voice of a person in your head, and then they call. You ever heard that? Have you ever done that? Or thought of somebody, and then they call you?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I can tell most times who it is calling before I look at my phone.
Exactly.
Especially if we're close.
Yes. What about hearing a song in your mind that reminds you of someone, and then they contact you somehow, whether that be phone, whether that be email, whether that be text, or you get a notification right at the moment that you were thinking of that person or that song that reminds you of that person, and a notification pops up that they just left a message on your Facebook page or something. Does that happen to you? Oh, yeah.
It has.
I think it's recognizing, right? Recognizing that it's happening, and then like confirming it and validating, and it keeps on coming. You know, the more you recognize it.
because you're in the now and aware of it. You know, we have so many distractions. If we're in the now and aware, that's where the power is.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that they say is, did you have imaginary friends when you were little? That is a sign also of clairaudience. Interesting. But that probably could fall into a few different ones.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I noticed with spirits and stuff, I noticed the one we did last time, clairvoyance and clairaudience, kind of relates in that as well. It's interesting.
Yeah. Hi, Sonia. It's okay. Are you doing some gardening, honey? What do we got here? Yes, too many times, LOL. Sometimes I don't want to talk to a specific person. I talk about him or her, not just thoughts, and boom, exactly. I think it's because then they are picking up on it, right? Yes.
Have you
And
ever
somebody-
tried? Sorry.
Well,
I was going to ask, have you ever like played around? Because I've done this and it's worked. Have you ever tried to like send a thought to somebody and see if they pick up on it or receive it too or hear it?
You're jumping ahead now, damn it.
Oh, sorry.
That is something that I was going to talk about next week. Some of the
Okay.
things that we can do. Yes, like sending thoughts to somebody. Also, like maybe having like, you just get done playing a song and then you ask somebody, okay, so what song did I just play, or something like that, or give them a playlist or something, you know, and see what comes up. But yeah, like some of the exercises that you can do. Is music a big part of your life? Do you feel the music? Is music like medicine for your soul? Oh my gosh, yes.
Let me tell you, when I was detoxing, it was the best thing at that time. It was just so healing. I felt it so deeply. You know, music, I say, is therapeutic and it can help heal.
Yeah. Yes, I'm starting to get the feeling the spirits in my house don't like that I listen to YouTube so much. Yeah. Yes, but it takes time sometimes. Yeah. Yes, cleaning up what the armadillos did and clipping back dead stuff. Yeah. Well, I am like covered in snow over here, like this deep everywhere. And it's and it's icy. So when Sully's going to the bathroom and stuff, he's like crunching through the snow. Yeah.
I don't miss the snow. I don't.
It's beautiful to look at, but after that, you know, like driving in it and the snow removal. Oh,
I used to walk everywhere I went in New York, and the banks were taller than me.
Maria says, I asked Mars recently to open up a certain Aries heart during the last full moon, and 2 minutes later, I get a text from said Aries, Prime Express Delivery. Exactly. You just cannot make that crap up. I'm just serious. That is, wow. Music is a language of its own. Yes, it is.
Definitely.
Yes, it is. Yes, alcohol helps much more to open up to music. Probably because it helps like lower your inhibitions. One of the best ways that they talk to me is with music, which is great, but can get annoying. Yeah. How many times have you guys heard a song for no good reason? It just pops in your head and it continues to play in your head for like 2 weeks. All the time. It always happens to me. One of the songs that I've been hearing lately is Dance to the Music. You know, from The Black Knight. What's his name?
I don't know if I've seen that.
He was in Bad Boys.
Which Bad Boys? Like Sean Penn Bad Boys or Will Smith?
Bad Boys. What you gonna do? Martin Lawrence.
Was it Will Smith?
Will
Oh,
Smith and
okay.
Martin Lawrence. Yes, yes, yes. When he did Black Knight and he was like the jester that came, this is like medieval. And I'm like seeing this whole scene like playing out, and he's getting everyone, all these medieval people, like playing different things, and he's going, dance to the music.
I had a dream with a song that I loved in high school and completely forgot about. And this dream was like one of them vivid ones. And ever since that dream, like that song always repeats in my head all the time.
Yes, constantly.
Hey,
Sarana's it's a small world after all.
my theme song for life is the Leaving Song Part 2, the slow one from AFI. Let me know if
I don't
anyone
know
else
that.
knows it.
What is it now?
It's called the Leaving Song from AFI. I can't remember if it's part 1 or 2, but it's the slow version. And if I had a life theme song, it'd probably be that.
Yeah, Maria, what do you mean those earthworms are the worst? The worst part about those earthworms is when I actually try to think of a different song, the original song always comes through again. I don't think I know that one.
Brainworms, we'll call it.
Oh, earworms, not earthworms. Oh my God.
Ear. I was reading earthworms too.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I think I have a brainworm.
Earworm is when we call it, is what we call it in German. When you can't get a song out of your head. I got you. Earworms, not earthworms.
Nice. I dig it.
Yeah, that's funny.
They say if you repeat the end of the song in your head, when it gets caught in your head, then it'll go away, but it never works for me.
That's what my daughter said. She said the problem is, she said it happens when you've heard a song like on a commercial or something like that, and it doesn't get finished.
Yeah.
So you keep on running and running and running until you play the whole dang thing, and then it's done. But that's not the case, because I have done that many times and listened to the whole thing, and I still can't get it. My husband's like, tell me about it, because I'll be, whatever I'm doing, I'll be walking around the house and all of a sudden I'm just singing it, you know.
Could you imagine the day I posted the boots and pants? I was saying it all day.
I could not get that image out of my head. Boots and pants and boots and pants and boots. It was so funny. Oh yeah.
I will forever love that commercial.
That is funny. Oh, I got a funny one that I would always laugh about, which is the State Farm commercial. She would come down the stairs and she'd go, "Who are you talking to?" Right? Like the jealous wife, 3 a.m. in the morning, who are you talking to? Jake from State Farm. What is Jake from State Farm wearing? Khakis. What woman does not laugh at that commercial?
I love it. That is like my second favorite commercial ever.
That is so funny. So are you musically inclined? This is another thing. Are you musically inclined? Do you sing? Do you write music? Do you play any kind of instrument? You know, are you good at reading music? That would also be an indicator that you are somebody that has strong indications towards clairaudience. Do you learn better if you can hear it? I do. I retain it better if I hear it. What about you guys?
Same. I also have to be shown, though, not told. If I'm only told, I'll like implant some of the information, but I have to see it done at least once, then I've got it down.
But what if you're like reading a book? Like I've done this before. I will read a book out loud so that I can remember it better.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
It is. It's, yeah.
I
can agree with that.
I'm just kidding.
Well, to me, weird's a good thing, so.
Right. Bonus says, listening to the song once or a few times helps 110% to me.
if I'm really feeling a song, it'll be on repeat for like 3 hours. Have
Oh,
fun.
do you have to go by? Or do you have to go, B? Learned guitar for 5 years as a kid, always singing along to music, always moving to it. Exactly. We just played right before we started this, the song, Play That Funky Music. And we were sitting here, I was getting up and shaking my booty. And yes. I have to read it and or write it to remember. Yes. Yes. Writing is another one for me for retention. Definitely. Well, that's another one too. Do you get like constant ringing in your ear almost to the fact of needing to write it? And then when you write stuff down, does it surprise you at how much comes out? That would be, in my opinion, somebody that is a channeler.
Definitely.
Just like yourself. That is a huge one for you, isn't it? When you were, well, let me ask you, when you were writing your book, or as you're writing your book, are you hearing it, or are you seeing it, or both?
Both.
Yeah.
And it depends. For a lot of the time I'm hearing it and as it's coming in, but there are a lot of times I see it playing out in my head too, like a scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that name for me was just a synchronicity.
What, Amy Green?
Yes, my last name's Green and spelt the same, and my childhood first spirit imaginary friend's name was Amy.
Interesting. Interesting. Amy, you were the one that commented that you were born on a Wednesday, right? I'm almost positive she was. And I was telling you ladies about that.
When I seen her name, I got that Ripley like effect.
There's a reason for that. She said I played some piano and a recorder and that I was in choir. Yes, I was in choir for lots of years. Sonia says I read out loud. Otherwise, I don't remember anything. See, that just works better for me too. And Sully loves it. It just soothes him. He'll just lay down next to me and fall asleep as long as I'm like reading. It doesn't matter what I'm reading. He just is soothed by it. Well, I also did ballet, so not moving to the music is impossible for me. Exactly. Exactly. I love that. I try not to dance in public too much. I love that. But I noticed that music brings out very vivid daydreams.
Same.
Yes. My kid said that I have singing Tourette's, and my sister has the same problem. It's an affliction, okay? Because somebody will say something like, oh, you know, I got to go to the doctor. And all of a sudden, Carla and I will look at each other and go, doctor.
You do that too?
Yes.
Oh my
and we're
God.
always saying the same thing with
Me
whatever
too.
word.
And it's like I have theme songs for everyone, like everyone I come across, and it's hilarious because I annoy people with it.
What about sitcom theme songs? Do you ever catch yourself singing those?
Sitcom? I'm not familiar.
Like TV shows?
Oh yeah.
Like the theme songs?
Yes. I used to, what was that? I would like walk into my job at Walmart. Everyone knew I was clocking in because I'd just holler like E. coli. And then you would hear people like doing the ripple effect. They would like repeat it and it would just echo all over Walmart. And I'd be like, Cortney's entered the building.
Yes, we used to do that. Ricola. Oh. Yes, constant ringing. I haven't tried writing. I would try writing, honey.
Mm-hmm.
There might be something to that.
I looked in some of the research I got. The ringing is said to be like voice frequency or music or sound frequency that we can't quite hear clearly yet, but we'll get into how to establish that next week.
Right. I read that is like actually like the early on, like
right
before. Yeah. Like it's starting in you. You know, as
Like,
long as you nurture it, it's going to continue to grow. But I also believe that the really high pitched stuff is coming from your higher dimensional beings.
yeah,
So
I can agree.
Sonia says, I keep getting the feeling to do something and it won't get out of my head until I do it, like moving something to another spot. Yes. Isn't that interesting? So you have to ask yourself what clairs are all involved there. Is that claircognizance, a knowing that something is supposed to be in a different spot, or a nagging feeling like you're forgetting something? Is somebody telling you that? Are you hearing it? Was it some dream?
That just made me think of like times I'm out walking with the boys and I'll hear like a whisper say, "Oh, pick that stick up." It could literally just be a stick. And I'll take it. And the boys are like, "Well, what's that for?" You know? And I'm like, "I don't know yet."
Mm-hmm.
And then later I end up needing it for something.
Yes. I always say if something's calling out to you, even if you don't understand why, get it. If it's something to purchase, if you can afford to, of course, get it. Even if it sits on your count or, on your bookcase, there's going to be a time that it comes where you utilize it. If not, then give it to somebody else. Maybe you were supposed to pick it up for somebody else, right? But even like with Amber, the book that she wrote, The Art of Cosmic Creation, a lot of those dreams that she got, that she talks about in the book, she got when she was a little girl. And they said to put it in the book. She got those for a certain reason. She just didn't know what that reason was until, 30 years later.
Wow.
Interesting, isn't it? Maria says, when I hear a new song of my favorite band, an entire music video starts playing in my mind's eye. So I kind of translate the lyrics into images. Yes. Who remembers when MTV was huge? When it first, oh my gosh, yes. We would race home from school every day. Granted, I'm older than some of the people in here, definitely older than you, but we would race home when MTV was big and watch music videos for hours every day after school. It was amazing. So whenever you heard a song, you would run all that through your mind. But do you hear a song sometimes and memories come back, or a taste will come back if you associated that with like a show or a memory from a loved one or something like that? Does that happen? Oh, yeah. I know today's topic is clairaudience, but will you be covering claircognizance? Oh yeah, claircognizance is my strongest one, definitely. And I think that comes from being a very avid dreamer and getting downloads through my dreams, through my sleep state. Yeah. I
agree.
We can probably do that one next, is claircognizance.
Yeah.
What do we got here? When I went into paganism, it surprised me how many people didn't get messages from their deities or had to get them through alternative means when they couldn't hear them, often inconvenient ways. Yeah. I don't necessarily hear them. I don't hear. When I hear stuff, I hear it in my own voice. So I think that's the problem that I have questioned it. But I have heard, I have had experiences when I was little with actual apparitions and other stuff like that, where you actually heard their voice, or hearing footsteps, or hearing, when somebody calls your name or stuff like that. But actually somebody talking to me where I can like hear it outside of myself, I've never experienced that. But sometimes I can hear my like past loved ones say something in their voice. But I thought that was just my imagination.
I believe that's a form of it. I do. Usually almost every demon that I've worked with, I've heard a whisper from them first, and it would direct my attention to them.
Yeah. That's mine too. Hi, Sage Advice Tarot.
Welcome.
And I also hear them through my own voice as well. I just learned to trust it. I think that was the big thing for me, because I would ask myself, I mean, are you going crazy, Rachele? Are you just having a conversation with yourself? Is this all in your, you know what I mean? No, you're just whatever. Your imagination is crazy, whatever. But now I'm actually, and that's why like angel numbers and synchronicities and talking with other people makes you realize that validation. I had somebody last week when we did clairvoyance. Somebody had asked about like dreams, getting dreams, actual dreams that tell the future, and then it really comes to be foretold. And what is the advice that you would give somebody? And I've said, that I've talked with my friends about those kind of things and it runs in my family. My mom would get dreams that would actually come true. I have gotten dreams that actually come true. I've had dreams that come true the next day. I've had dreams that come true a year later, right? And I know that you have as well. Actually, things probably you don't want to know, right? I mean, But for me, when someone asks, why do you get them if you're not supposed to do something about it? For me, it's been about confirmation and validation to trust in what I'm getting. And depending on what the information is and how close I am to that person, would I tell them or would I not tell them?
Right. I don't always tell them, because sometimes things are just better not knowing, especially if it could be traumatic. If I do get warned about something and they're close to me, if I don't warn them, I'll just kind of watch closely and be there for support, like when it happens, because how do you break like something devastating to somebody that you've seen happen? You don't want to put the fear in them. Sometimes just letting things be as it is the answer. And then when the time comes, you can deal with it appropriately and support whoever it is.
Yeah, I think for me, it has been very much about validation, trusting in myself, trusting in the information that I'm getting and knowing, so that if somebody does come to me and says, can you give me a tarot reading? And then I see this thing that foretells, and they're asking me for it. I'm not going and saying, hey, I just had this horrible dream. Someone's gonna, I just don't think I could do that. I don't, because then if it's not right, what kind of energy are you putting out there for that person? I mean, there's got to be, for me, it's a level of like responsibility for what happens to that person,
Right. I mean, what's interesting is when I worked in the medical field, I could always tell down to the hour or day when someone was going to pass. They could be up, chirpy, and okay. And I would look and they would all believe me, because after a few times of telling them, they kind of was like, okay, it's weird, but we believe you now. Which I think all of us that work in the medical field eventually pick up on that, but it was like deeper for me. And I would tell them, okay, so-and-so I feel is going to go soon. We may want to, prepare, make them feel okay, comfortable. And they're like, well, they ate good. They're up, they're doing whatever. And then it's like the next day, total decline. So, I mean, yeah.
I don't want that kind of, that's not something that I want, that ability.
It's a burden. It is. And if they didn't have family, I would spend my lunch break sitting with them, or any chance I got, to make sure that they weren't alone, I felt
in that regard, that is awesome.
I felt it was my burden to do that, but I didn't mind, because if I was in that situation, I wouldn't want to be alone.
Yeah, exactly. So in that case, you didn't have to tell anybody. It wasn't about that. It was just about you getting this information because you're there with that person, and maybe giving them the best possible day that you could have. Right.
Right. Because they tell us not to get close to them, but that's impossible. Like,
Maria says, I have so many conversations with myself, just like as if someone is sitting there in the room with me.
Mhm.
Me too. Some of those have had a very calming effect in difficult situations, felt like being answered. Absolutely. And I think you are. I think it's your higher self. You're tapping into your higher self.
Yeah.
And or a guide or whatever. It's just talking through your own voice because that's what you're more comfortable with. You know, I had an experience. You ladies know about this experience that I had a few nights ago with, I told you earlier in the day, I'd been hearing ringing a few times. And then that night when I went to bed, I woke up like screaming, screaming to wake myself up because of what happened.
Right.
But a part of me wonders, did that happen just because I'm in a fear state? Rather than, was it a direct communication trying to communicate with me? And I was just so, that it just freaked me the hell out and it was lost because of my own fear. So do we stop our own abilities because of fear? I think we do. So maybe it comes in our own voice so that we're not as fearful.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, maybe. Because if somebody said in a different voice, I might be going, oh, what the hell? You know, who said that? You know, just saying. I had this dream about a lady I know. She's pregnant, and I saw her at her baby's funeral. Oh, the baby only lived about half a year. I'm not telling her. I wouldn't either. I would definitely not tell her.
Yep, it's those situations
because we don't know whether or not. I mean, we don't know whether or not that's going to come true yet. Why would you even? I would never put that kind of fear in somebody. That might be something that you've seen with baby. I mean, I've had lots of dreams. Don't get me wrong. I've had lots of things come true, but I've also gotten lots of dreams that I thought I interpreted it the correct way. And then when it comes to be foretold, I had it wrong. It's still, I could see it in retrospect, you know, my perception of that dream and how it came about. But I mean, it's hard to explain. Like, for instance, when I had that dream about the vaccination, right? The Chinese army coming in, right? And that. So I thought it was vaccinations. I thought it was about vaccinations for your kids, but we probably shouldn't be talking about this on the channel because I'll probably get blocked. But anyways, it was about something totally different than what I thought when I had the dream, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, like, oh, I'll tell you about that later. I don't want to. Sorry, guys.
Sarana says, I remember when my aunt passed, I knew she was going to go and she saw them there. It was very clear that she knew she was going to go and knew why I was there. She knew I knew, and she passed shortly after. I think you know. I mean, with you working in a place like that, let me ask you, when you've seen a lot of them go, would they be like looking up or looking and just like staring and having communication and talking with past life or past loved ones and stuff? Yes.
Many times. I mean, almost every single time they would see something or a loved one. My grandmother wasn't doing well 2 years ago, and she was really close to going. Well, she was talking to and seeing my grandfather, her husband that passed away with her son, trying to save him. She was seeing him and talking to him. But she recovered. But yeah, I believe in that completely.
Exactly. Yes. But I do think that we get the interpretations wrong sometimes. I do think that that is why you hear that, you know, psychics, especially even the best psychics ever, that get so much right. They are not 100% because we are human. We might, you know, not read the signs the right way, you know, or the way.
Or the future is constantly changing depending on actions of one. You could be seeing one perception of one path that's going to be taken, but if they decide between then and now, you know, to do something else, that's going to shift the entire future and mold it into something else. Doesn't mean that it didn't happen or it wasn't going to happen. It just means that it's changed.
I also heard if you're dreaming about a past loved one, or that you're dreaming that you're on the phone and you're talking with somebody that's passed, and if they talk back, that you're actually having spirit communication with them.
Mm-hmm.
That would be in the dream state, but that would also be clairaudience.
Yeah.
And that has happened to me, actually, on the phone talking with my grandpa. Yes. Yeah. What about, here's another one that I have found that this has been happening more frequently for me. Even when it seems like everything is quiet, does it still, I mean, through like the naked ear, but it still feels really, really noisy, like there's just too much noise?
Yes.
Are any of you guys getting that?
I actually wrote that down because I cannot sit in a room of complete silence without hearing buzzing, ringing, and I've had my ears checked. They're not damaged. Or just noise, like white noise, all kinds. I usually have something playing while I go to sleep, even really low, because I just get all that crap I don't want to hear at the moment. So sitting in silence is difficult.
Yeah. I find that it can be like deafening almost.
Yeah.
I mean, that's weird. That is weird. It's not something I've always felt, but recently it is something that has been happening to me. On the subject of hearing, why do you think some dreams have audio and some are mute? I have that sometimes. I don't think I don't recall that.
I have.
Ever being mute, where there's no sound?
I have. I think my theory on that is because you're not supposed to be paying attention to what they're saying, more so the symbology around what they're trying to say. That's my opinion. I have had dreams like that many times where I go to scream or I go to talk and nothing comes out, or vice versa with somebody else in the dream.
Wow. I don't ever recall it being like silent. I mean, purposely muted.
Right.
I always like have tons of conversations. Wasn't there some sort of French guy who wrote the book that 2021 is the last chapter and 2022 is when we all die from the asteroid?
Nostradamus predictions. I was just looking at those this morning, and yeah, I heard that there's a whole bunch of like predictions surrounding this year with Nostradamus. But
hi, sweetie. Happy New Year, honey. Oh, thank you. Yeah, they're very good. I love this kind of stuff.
me too.
I think all too often people have all these things. They just did not even realize it. And once we start recognizing, I mean, really the awareness of it, we start trusting in ourselves more and we start getting more messages.
Right.
More communication.
Oh, yeah.
Not that we're not getting it already, but, you know.
And we are all capable of it.
I love that my dog visits my dreams. She's the best. You know, that is, well, nah, I'm not going to, that's like something different. You guys know about the other night with the Sully in my dream. So I'm not even gonna.
I've dreamt about Sully. That's funny. I've dreamt about Sully twice now.
Yeah.
Where he's just talking to me and I'm listening like, cool. Like, hi, how you doing? Like having a full-on conversation. And he's almost cartoonic. Like in one, he had a top hat and crossed his legs even as he's talking to me.
You know what my husband says? That's funny. He says, man, I wished you were like Brian from the Family Guy. Like, you know, just having this conversation.
It's how it was.
I see it in my head. That's what he says.
Wow.
So I wonder if you're picking up on that. That's funny. Oh, I had that too. Sometimes they are just black and white.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall ever having a black and white dream either.
I have about twice, I think, 2-3 times my whole life.
Yeah.
Or like I've had them where I'm trying to like, it's a very violent dream and it's like I'm being violent towards somebody. And every time I go to hit them, it's like I can't hit them. Like, it's so weird. Dreams.
Oh.
Yeah. But I can hear like the sounds, but it's like physically I can't. I'm constricted. I can't. Even if I give them all that I have, it just them.
It's like fruitless, right? Wow.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Simpsons had a lot of predictions. Oh. Huh.
That come true. Yeah. It's
Wow.
creepy how many Simpsons predictions have come true.
We're just getting a disclosure. That's what it is. Oh, what was it you just seen? You just put it in our group the other day about time travel.
Oh, yeah. That Russia, I think it was, finally was able to transport in a time machine they built particles from one area and take it back to the past and remold and shape them how they were. So basically, they're now starting to disclose that time travel is possible, which I knew it.
Exactly. What was it I said when we were doing which are coming up soon, the interviews, that I would like to get a time machine and go back, and everyone's like, okay, I want to go back with you. So I'm like, it's going to be a big time machine so we can all go back. We're not going to stay in any other time period, but we're going to go and check this out, this out, this out.
Oh, I love that. I would love to just go back and observe what my ancestors were doing,
That's like my room this month has to do with ancestor stuff. Maria says, I was having a conversation in my dream that was muted. I knew what we were talking about. I just couldn't hear anything, but I could tell from the body language, watching us as out of body experience.
You may have dream walked. Sometimes if I dream walk, I think she's a very avid dream walker. Because there's times I found where I've dream walked and it was muted, because sometimes with their mind, when you're going into their mind, you don't have access to everything. You can observe, but you may not always hear it. I mean, that's my theory. Interesting.
Yeah. I post daily inspirational cards on Facebook, but I was getting gritty predictions with the cards channeled messages, so I post those on my website blog. Oh, very cool. Another sign, feeling like some animals speak to you, or even babies. Oh, yes. Yes, babies too. It's like especially the mom. But I mean, I watched this thing on Oprah from years ago. The babies have different kinds of cries for different things. Yeah.
I always knew.
I always knew exactly what the cry was for.
Same. Yeah. If their tummy hurt, if they were cold, I just knew.
Exactly. Can you imagine going back and relearning your family practices before the Christian takeover? Yes. Oh my gosh.
Because
that would be so cool.
I'm not gonna lie here. I would love to see. I heard in Sweden that's where human sacrifice was most prevalent in Scandinavia. Not sure how true, but I came across that. I read it somewhere, and I'm like, I'd like to see my ancestors perform that. I know it's dark, but I just want to. Don't ask me why. I just do.
I had a dream about Egypt that I knew that I was a sacrifice. Wow. And there was a whole bunch of other girls too. We were in the king's chamber or in another room like that. And our family was around us, but it was supposed to be a big, huge honor to be sacrificed.
Same. In my dream, I was a man, but I was happy, willing, it was an honor. That's really interesting.
I'll get to that part in a second because I'm seeing it over here. I post addendums to my predictions, but there have been so many. I'm way behind. Just ready to post January's today. Wow, that is really cool. Very interesting. Yeah. Those Vikings did not practice fluffy kind of rituals. Yes. Oh my gosh. The one where the guy, they opened up his back and pulled out
Blood Eagle. I love it.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I was watching and I was like, oh my gosh, like I could think of like 2 people right now. No, just
Oh
kidding.
my gosh. That's
Or am
terrible. So, um, also, which we should probably get back on track here.
I?
Do things seem noisy around you even when they are not? Yeah.
Mhm.
Trouble concentrating because of too much noise in your head? Yes. That is another sign of clear audience. Do thoughts and inspiration flow through you? Yeah, because I think that this, like you said, we were talking earlier, this is really associated also with your throat chakra.
Mhm.
Yeah, and communication and stuff like that. So also thought, air, it'd be associated with air. Um, do you associate a lot of your experiences with music and or sound? So like when you think back your memories and stuff like that, do you associate some of those things with sounds and or music?
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you think of a song and then you turn on the radio and it's playing?
Yes, that has happened a couple times.
Yes. Do you think you can hear people's thoughts? Yes. Yeah. Or who said it earlier? Or like if somebody's being sarcastic, even if normally, like if they're writing it, you would think, no, you can't always tell, right? It's how you are perceiving it. But man, I tell you, sometimes I can tell when somebody's being patronizing, whether or not
Mhm.
somebody is being extremely sarcastic or Debbie Downer, or something like that. Yes. Yes. Do you finish people's sentences? Or can
Chris
you?
and I Chris and I are like bad with that. We literally say what we're thinking or complete each other's.
Mhm. See, I think that's a little bit of clear cognizance, clear audience, clear empathy, all 3 of those, maybe even clear sentience. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So, do you experience, after hearing all that, are you clairaudient? Yep.
Bloody go.
Bloody go. Not a lot of evidence for human sacrifice in ancient Egypt. Usually it was prisoners or occasionally servants to serve the Pharaoh in the afterlife. This was something in this dream. I was in an all white gown and I must have been about, and they were all girls. And I must have been about maybe 13 years old. And there was like rugs. And there was like tons of families. They were sitting around on the outside of the rug where all of the girls that were in their white gowns were sitting in the center. And the girls knew that this was something that they were doing. It was either a sacrifice or maybe, because I didn't see the sacrifice, that's just what my head went to. Or we could have been being initiated into like a priesthood or something like that. Priestess or something like that too. But we knew that this was an honor for our family and that it was
Yeah.
something that was going to accelerate our family or something.
I remember a story I seen not long ago about a lady remembering her past life from Egypt, and she said she was sacrificed in a temple, which I wouldn't doubt it. Maybe not a lot of evidence, but a lot of ancient civilizations understood the power of sacrifice and ritualistic stuff.
Yeah. I do know that I watched a video or a show not too long ago, and it was Ramesses, maybe, that when he was building one of the uh, pyramids, I believe, that he literally worked people into their graves. There was hardly, they found mass graves. Not that they were sacrificing, but I guess that would be kind of considered also a sacrifice because he literally worked them until they were dead, which was horrible. I think it was Ramesses. I'm not sure which one for sure. Maybe it was Akhenaten. I don't know. How do I discover my past lives? Because I have a few suspicions of a few of my past lives, but I am unsure. Well, that was just from dreams that I have experienced. Um, that really feel like really strong. I've had lots of dreams that are about, Egypt and about different aspects. But you can get past life regressed. There's people that do that. You can get a reading, tarot reading. Maybe just start writing things down at like your dreams when they come to you. And the more and more you write them down, you'll remember them more. What do you say, Cortney?
Yeah, definitely pay attention to dreams, to detail in dreams, practice like, lucid dreaming and stuff so you can be aware of the dream, if that makes sense. A lot of my past life regression came to me in dreams. Also, I made up a little ritual called lowering the veil for my past life. And you'll need another person with you. And you kind of go into a meditative state or trance and you hold the intention of doing regression. And once you hit that state, you start receiving messages. It may not work for everybody, but you get into that state of consciousness where you're receiving messages or images, words, whatever you hear, feel, and you say it out loud as they come to you while the other person's writing it down for you. You can try that. It worked for me. Also, other herbs and stuff like for psychic abilities could help in some of that up as well.
Like mugwort,
amethyst.
crystal.
Since you told me to put that like under my pillow, I can remember my dreams way more vividly. Now I won't sleep without it.
Labradorite, held up to your third eye, is said to unlock psychic visions. So, yeah. Yes, definitely amethyst. Under your pillow, or there's even like yoga mats or whatever that they make that they have a whole bottom of like amethyst.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is really cool. I have an entire music library in my head, specific songs for specific people or places or moments. Yes. That is so funny. I remember my husband, one of the guys that he worked with, just to mess around with him every time he would call. He had the song "Dude Looks Like a Lady." So funny. Poor guy.
I remember that. I remember when you could call someone and hear a ringtone. Like, that was cool. Why did we do away with that?
Yes, you can do past life tarot readings and see if anything resonates with you. That's what I am doing, actually. I am using the Art History for Past Lives tarot, or Art History Tarot for Past Lives. And it's like a whole workbook, and there's like 21 different spreads in this, or 20 spreads, whatever, where it takes you deeper and deeper into one life. And then you can, do another one after that. But I suggest using that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I want to get that. Also, if certain time periods just really impact or stick out to you, pay attention to that as well. Especially if you hold like somewhere inside of you, it's hard to describe. But for example, I lived in the Victorian era. So some things in this life feel a little weird to me, almost like it shouldn't be that way. It should be like this, old fashioned, but then I catch myself doing that and I'm like, well, what's that about? And I'll go and write that down. You'll get these hints and clues. Make sure you pay attention to your intuition about certain time periods and how you feel about them.
Exactly. Yes. If you are drawn to like an aesthetic, like certain types of cars, if it was like older than that, like certain types of buggies, or like the way that like cobblestone streets, or certain landscapes, certain clothing. Oh yeah. All that indicators.
Yes. It was really strange because when I first came over here, when Chris first brought me here and I saw like cobblestone streets and stuff, I went, oh my gosh, this reminds me of, and I'm like, well, what does it remind me of? And I was about to say, this
Yeah.
reminds me of home. And like not without even thinking about it. And then I caught myself and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Pona says, my last dream was about huge and different monsters fighting, and it ended with Odin's daughter waiting to be revived. And today I found out I got corona. Oh my goodness. So I
Oh,
guess I can do that or something. Yes. You'll probably be perfectly fine, but
yeah.
just take care of you. Take care of you.
Stay hydrated, stay well. I hope you get better. Speedy recovery.
I thought of mugwort and you immediately said it, because mugwort is one of the first ones that I think of for, it's what I use in my incense. But there's also other ones like sandalwood and, gosh.
I've used bay leaf as well.
Bay leaf.
My third
Yes.
eye.
Yes. The energy of Mercury retrograde is really good for all things past. You can tap into that to enhance past life. That's right. You did say that you do that. You're waiting for the next one to start your next round of readings. That's really cool. I have amethyst, obsidian, onyx, selenite, rhodonite, labradorite, and pure cinnamon sticks.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, yes. Next Mercury, January 30th. Okay. There's a website called Astro, if I remember correctly. When you register and you put your details in, it gives you all of your planets and information. Some astrologers believe that where are the most lines. Is it cafe astrology? Is that what you're thinking of, maybe?
That's what I've been using, and Ponus is correct there. He finished it, or she, sorry, whoever finished it by saying touching it could mean that in the place or around it was past lives. Yeah, I found that in my chart recently. It's a good point to bring up because we're exploring with our astrology, and that's something I found too, is if you dig deep, there's a lot to learn with it, but if you dig deep, you can find clues and hints into your past life. I could see where Chris and even my sons were a part of my past life in my chart. And we have certain karma dealing with all each other in this lifetime. It's interesting.
You can run your numerology to see whether or not you have karmic debt from a previous life. You can also check out your north node and your south node in astrology that can trigger, that can also give you more insight on what kind of karma you're dealing with in this life and what you have brought over from a previous life. Yes. So that's very cool. When I visited Monticello when I was a little girl, I always felt at home. I'd cry. Then we would live every time. I found out several years ago I had a past life there. Do you mean the mansion Monticello, Thomas Jefferson, his place? Is that what you mean, honey? His mansion or plantation? And they recently discovered a room under Monticello. I believe it's Monticello, where his lover slave they discovered her room. Yeah. Druids used astrology to look into past lives.
The Druids are awesome. Said to be taught by the She, by the way.
Really?
Apparently, when I dug into mystery and lore here about Druidism, it was said long ago that the Inner Earth people, or the She and the Fae, came out and taught Druidism from the mounds of Ireland.
Wow. I heard that if you move into different place where a specific planet, etc., it has the strongest energy there with its benefits, etc. Yeah. I mean, astrology is amazing. We are starting to really uncover. One of the things that we're going to be doing a live on, I believe it's the 17th, right? Of January. And we are going to be talking about finding your origins in astrology, looking into your charts. We're looking into our Vedic, we're looking into our Western. Even you were talking about how you were looking at like different views and then placing them on top of each other.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quite a few of us in a live talking about the things that we have discovered and trying to look at where our star systems were. And there's also an app that has helped us discover some of that stuff too, that you can look up in the sky. And we'll tell you about that on the 17th too. Yes. So exciting. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting.
It is.
That is very interesting. Yeah, with the past life stuff there.
I would say definitely, because I felt that way in New York when I went to the Hotel Chelsea or the house Sid Vicious died in. I mean, there's some families that actually still practice PONUS, but they're very secretive and like closed, in my experience. But I do know some people still practice it modernly, like modern paganism, and they try to incorporate Druidism. But as far as like the old traditional Druidism, I think there are still some families around that practice it, but they're just more hushed about it in their ways.
Yeah. This has been excellent, you guys. You guys are friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
Would you say that you guys are clairaudient? I would say yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So next week, same day next week, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Cortney's going to be joining me again. We are going to be talking about ways that we can help develop our clairaudience, maybe having a little bit of fun, trying some little exercises or what have you. So maybe we should do something in the group until next week. Maybe something like music. Let's do something with music.
Okay.
Maybe I will post 3 different songs. And you guys have to pick. I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about it. Because I don't know. That's maybe kind of silly. Or maybe I can say a word. We can do like a keyword. And then you guys kind of pick what song you might think that we're talking about or something. See what comes to mind. What do you think? That might be kind of fun. And we'll post the actual music in the group, a link. So we can all have some fun, dancing and singing around our house too. This is always fun. Yes, it was fun. I feel like I got off topic. No. We always get off topic, honey. Don't feel bad. We always get off topic. But that's part of the fun of it, right?
Right.
Thank you, guys. I hope you enjoy your week. Check out the Amethyst Ascension Facebook group. We'll be putting something in there. We'll figure it out. We'll put something in there. Fun for all of us. And I hope you have a wonderful week. And we're sending you love and light.